Oh, it's smooth as silk. Well, that's probably because it actually is silk and cashmere. Hey, Tivies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, it's Wiccan Wednesday, and I'm in my witch mode. I got on my silver pentacle here, and I've been meditating on all things mystical. And as many of you know, I've been starting to wear the veil lately. It's an ancient Wiccan tradition of taking the veil. For those of you who follow the craft and want to consecrate yourself to the service, you might even consider taking a veil. Now, I did a whole nother video on veils, but a lot of you have been watching lately, seeing me wear a veil. Well, I'm collecting veils, and I got to show you my newest veil that I got. Look at this. It's done in purple, and it's a beautiful paisley. Look at the exotic design. Let's see if I can show it to you. It's kind of hard to see here on camera, but it's got such a rich and intricate woven design. Very, very ornate, very lovely. Let's see if you can see that. Actually, you know what? Let me take it from the end to the end. Hold on, let me unfold it here. This is made of what we call pashmina, which is a silk and cashmere blend. And look at this beautiful exotic design. It's so mystical looking. I love rich paisleys. When I used to wear ties, which you will never see Bob in a tie hardly ever again, but I used to buy paisley ties, and I love rich paisley pattern. And so this is my newest purple veil. Hopefully you can see some of it. It's a little hard to see on camera. The design's very subtle, but it's got beautiful fringed ends, tasseled ends, and it's a very lovely, intricate, woven paisley. So I'm loving it. And of course, it's in my favorite color of purple. So I've got it here. I think I'll just wear that. How you guys like that? Can I wear my veil today? There you go. Well, welcome to Wiccan Wednesday. You guys are the best. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you who came out to yesterday's video. We did messages from the spirit world. If you didn't see that video, you need to check that out. It's in the queue right before this video, okay? Well, today we're going to talk about something which is one of the kind of the basics of the craft, which a lot of people overlook in their studies. And today's video, by the way, we want to give credit to Lady Angela of Rare Wicca Spells. Definitely visit her site, rarewiccaspells.com. I'll have the link below because she has a wonderful crafting supply. She's got ritual tools. She's got robes. She's got chalices. Last week we talked about the chalice, and I forgot to tell you, go to Lady Angela's site. She has wonderful chalices over there. My hair's flying everywhere today, but that's all right. And check her out. She has spell pages, books of shadows, all of that. Anyways, she's the one who said, Psychic Bob, you need to do a video about the magical element of salt. That's right, salt, S-A-L-T. And so we're going to take a look at salt today. So stay with us. What is this magical element? Ooh, look at it. It's beautiful. This is the element of salt. Everybody knows what salt is, or if you don't, you should. Now, don't eat salt if you have a high blood pressure issue, but you don't have to just eat salt. Salt is a magical tool of the Wicca. In the ancient days, salt was so valuable. Do you remember back when we talked about purple dye? And I was telling you last week how valuable, like to have a cloth like this in purple back in the olden days would have been so, so expensive. But nowadays, thank God we can afford purple. But purple's still a magical color. Well, salt is a lot like purple dye. It's very valuable, very treasured, especially in the ancient days. And we have here in our bowl salt. Now, salt let me tell you how valuable salt was. Salt was used as a form of money. During the Roman times, soldiers of the Roman Empire received their salary in salt. And this is where we get the word salary, because it comes from the word salt. So salary in the old days was paid in salt. And salt was a form of currency. So you could trade salt at the local market in exchange for goods. That's how valuable it was. And now salt was very expensive because it was very labor intensive. You know, salt was mined just like we mine coal, just like we mine all sort of things. Nowadays, we're able to extract sea salt from the ocean, and I don't know if they did that then. I forgot to check that out, but I'm going to assume that they didn't do it as often. And so salt had to be mined, which meant you had to have a big mountain, you had to find veins of salt, and you had to dig it out. But salt is used as a magical element. Now, on the altar, salt represents the element of earth. It's very fitting that it should be the element of earth because literally salt is from the earth and is of the earth. So anyways, when we set our Wiccan altar, a lot of people like to put salt on. Now salt, and from a magical perspective, is considered to be very purifying. And it literally grounds down negative energies and it promotes life force energy. It's believed that all of life came from the sea, and the ancients knew that the water of the sea carried salt in it, and so they realized that salt was directly connected to life itself. And they noticed that, for example, in the old days when they would sweat, their sweat tasted like salt. How many of you ever been out running and you got sweat run down your face and it gets in your mouth? I know I've had that. Well, what's it taste of? Salty. Okay, where does that come from? Salt. Our bodies are made up of 80%, I think it's 80% of water, which is kind of like salt water. Yes, salt water, or saline as it's called, is in our bloodstream. Okay, so it's naturally an element that produces life. So salt works as an agent against negativity and hostility because it is life force. It is Mother Earth, and it is imbued in our own very blood. Our saline blood carries life force. So when we put, as witches, salt on the altar, we're reminding ourselves to connect back to life force. And in the ancient days, whenever there was evil, it wasn't overcome by greater evil, it was overcome by good. So salt is a symbol of good, a symbol of life. Isn't that wonderful? Now, if you're saying, Psychic Bob, how can I work with salt? What does that mean in terms of, you know, my spiritual life? Well, salt has a lot of wonderful ways you can work with it. One is just put it out on your altar, okay? When you set your spiritual altar, just put a little bowl of salt. Now, you don't have to have a big bowl. This is a big bowl I have because I collect antique glass. By the way, this is an antique crystal bowl. Isn't that beautiful? My mom gave it to me. It's from the 1930s. But you don't have to have a bowl like that. Any container that you want to use, you can use for salt. But I would recommend, honestly, that you use something of glass or crystal. Why? Well, salt has an interesting element to it, that it is actually corrosive. It's corrosive to metal. One time I have to tell you, let me just set this down here. You know I love chalices, and years ago when I was first starting out in the craft, I had a beautiful silver chalice, kind of like this one. And I read in a book, well, mix salt and water for holy water. Well, I thought, hey, how cool to keep a chalice of holy water on my altar. So I bought a beautiful silver chalice, filled it with salt and water, thought this is all the bomb. And only to discover a few days later, the entire interior of my chalice was absolutely corroded. It looked like it had rusted and all the silver was gone and it was all pitted. I thought, oh my God. Well, if I had been a little slower in my excitement, instead of jumping into that, I would have read further in the very same book that it said, when you make holy water, do not put this in a silver chalice, as silver and salt are not compatible. Salt is a corrosive element. So it purifies by burning away all that we don't need. Now, I did need my silver chalice, but think of it this way. Salt is purified. It's life force, and life banishes evil. What happens when somebody is sick? Well, they come back to life. They get stronger. And salt represents, as I said, life force. And so therefore it banishes evil. Now, a lot of you write to me and say, Psychic Bob, I'm scared. I live in a haunted house. I wake up every night that spirits are in my room screaming and appearing and knocking on things. That's okay. If that happens, there's an easy way to solve that. What you want to do is get a bowl and again, fill it with salt. But this time, fill the whole bowl up with salt. Now, I'm not going to use all my salt here, but you can buy, by the way, I was going to tell you, you can buy salt at the dollar store, like giant boxes like this of salt. So that's where I get it. It's all the same. Salt is salt. If it's real salt, it's real salt. It's the same. But get a cereal bowl, a larger bowl, and I want you to fill that whole bowl with salt and put that by your bedstand. What that salt does is it releases a vibration of purification. And if low-level entities or disturbing spirits come in, salt, because of its life force, repels low-level entities. That's right. And it's interesting because the pagans have known this for thousands of years. And the Catholic Church in the last 2,000 years have said, oh, we have holy salt we use to purify places that are infested with demons. Now, where do you think the Catholic Church got that? Jesus didn't teach that in the Bible. They got that from the pagans because they saw the pagans use it and they're like, wow, that really works. So that's where it comes. It comes from the pagan tradition. So reclaim your pagan heritage if you're somebody who follows Wicca, and put salt in rooms that are haunted. Now, as a matter of course, you can put salt in your bedroom even if you're not haunted, just to have that protective, purifying element, okay? Somebody wrote to me once, they said, Bob, every time I go to bed, I feel as if spirits are walking up and down by my bed and touching me. So I suggested that not only do they put salt by their bedstand, I said, why don't you take salt and make an entire circle around your bed on the floor? And I said, the next day you can vacuum it up. And they said, that's brilliant. Well, they did that. And guess what? The haunting stopped. Spirits stopped being able to walk up to their bed and shake them and wake them up. Okay, so that is another way to use salt. Witches use salt to cast the circle. And whenever we do a ritual, as you know, we cast the circle. Well, if you want to, in a sense, expand that circle, what about if you could go out and sprinkle some salt and water around your whole house, the perimeter of your property? This is a wonderful way to secure your property and to create some magical energy, okay? So, you know, think about that. Get a bowl and start to explore it. Now, what are some other ways that you can work with salt to enhance its power in your life? Well, how about exploring color magic? Now, salt is white, but somebody came to me for a reading once. They said, Psychic Bob, I know you're talking about white salt, but I really feel connected to the color of blue. I like to work with blue light, but I feel like the white salt distracts me because I relate to the color blue rather than white. I said, well, guess what? We can fix that. What about taking a little food coloring and adding that to your salt? Let's see if we can do that. Now, I normally would do this with a mortar and pestle, but my pestle and mortar need wash. So you could just add a little bit, let's see if you can see this, a little drop of color, food coloring into your salt. And then just mix that in, all right? And as you do that, you're going to dye the salt blue color. Look at that, it's already turning. Oh, isn't that interesting? Look at that, can you see that, guys? So, little by little, we mix that food coloring in, and we're turning our salt blue. Now, as you mix color into your salt, you want to chant and pray and visualize, because remember, everything in the craft is about attuning to the power that you're working with. Look, I just put like 2 little drops in there. Wow. And as I mix it in, my salt is now turning. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see it very clearly here, but it's turning blue. Already it's turning the salt blue. So we can create blue colored salt. Let's see if I can tilt the camera down here. Can you see that? All right, so we're already, that's just with 2 drops, and I could add more to it, but this is just for demonstration purposes. But just a little bit mixed in, Already we got blue salt. So if you have a favorite color that you resonate with, you can turn your salt that color. What's another way that we can enhance the power of working with salt? Well, one of the ancient witch ways of doing that is to mix herbs with salt. Now, there are protective herbs, and one of the old witch protection herbs is the dill herb. Here's some dill weed herb. And I can tell you from personal experience, I had one time somebody actually, it was a sorcerer, cast a black magic spell on me. And I felt, and I actually had a friend with me, we witnessed it, because this person was very aggressive. It's a long story. We met somebody who was interested in learning about Wicca, but I didn't know at the time they were involved with black magic. And I got a really bad vibe. And when I said, well, we'll think about it, on the way home from the meeting, I felt some power come over me. Somebody cursed me. And I got my old witchcraft book, and it said, mix to break an evil spell, mix dill herb with salt. So I can do that. So if you have some salt, now this is color blue, it doesn't matter, but we can add some dill herb. We'll just mix that in to our mixture. And as you do this, visualize and pray to the elements of earth to help you. So we'll say, as this salt and herb are mixed, evil now is stopped and fixed. As the salt and herb are mixed, evil now is stopped and fixed. And this is an ancient witch tradition, and I sprinkled this around the corners of my house and also out on my doorstep. And what was really interesting is the person who was casting the spell, they might, you know, when magic goes back and forth, people feel it. Person called me and threatened me. They said, how dare you try to break my spell? I can feel your power. They felt my block against their spell. They knew that their spell was not taking, that I had risen power. And I'm telling you, this really happened. And I have witnesses to it. So mixing an herb like dill, that smells so good. I love the smell of dill. But you can mix dill and salt, and that's an old spell breaking formula. So you see, you can add color to salt. You can mix herbs with your salt. You can sprinkle it around your house. There are 1,000,001 ways to use salt. Now, the other way is to make holy water. So if you take water, like you would take a chalice. Now, if you were doing that, I would recommend a glass chalice. So for example, we would take a glass chalice and add a little, traditionally you add 3 pinches of salt. So we could measure out, for example, hold on just a second. We could measure out a little salt in this earthenware chalice. And then it's tradition that you add 3 pinches. So we'll say, here's 1. By the spell of 1, by the number 1, the spell's begun. By the number 2, we'll see it through. By the number 3, so mote it be. Add 3 pinches of salt to your chalice and then add water and mix it. And now you have a very powerful holy water. So this is another way that you can work with salt for your blessing and protection. So anyways, guys, I just want to bring that to you because some people have been asking about salt. Now, people are going to say, well, Psychic Bob, I was at the store and I saw sea salt, I saw kosher salt, I saw just regular iodized salt. Which salt do I use? It's all the same. Doesn't matter. Salt is salt. Okay? So if you buy kosher salt, let me just say, kosher salt already has a blessing on it. Now, as Wiccans, does that bother us? It doesn't bother me. It may bother you. But really, it's just more power added to the salt. So kosher salt, if you got a really strong case of evil, and you're doing an exorcism of a place or a person, kosher salt might be a good option. Now, some Catholic churches offer holy salt, which is already blessed. And if you really resonate to the Catholic energy and the Christian energy, you might want to ask a local priest if they have holy salts. Many times they'll give you a container of holy salt for free. Okay? If you go to the store, you can buy sea salt. Sea salt is really good if you're working with, you know, the energy of the goddess and want to tune to her in her kind of overall earth energy, such as the sea and the earth. If you're working on magic and you live near the seashore, sea salt would probably be more in harmony with what you're doing. But really, all of the salts are good. There's no bad salt. But these are just some versions of salt, and it really doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. Somebody said to me recently, what about the Himalayan sea salt or Himalayan salt? It's kind of a big, chunky, orangish, pinkish salt. That is also very purifying and powerful. That also will work. So any salt that is real salt is going to be just fine for you, okay? Anyway, so I hope that brings you some insight. Tell me in the box below, have you ever worked with the element of salt in a ritual or spell or any type of magical work? I'd love to hear about your experiences with salt. Also, do you keep salt on your altar? For those of you who keep an altar, what's your experience? Now, I want to hear from everywhere, whether you're Wiccan or Christian or Jewish or Muslim. I want to hear, because every religious tradition that I know of, at least in the West world, uses salt. I know that the Catholics use salt. I know Jewish people use salt. I know that many Christians use salt. Many times salt's even used at baptisms. They sprinkle the baby's mouth with salt as a form of exorcism. But where did that come from? It came from the pagans, all right? So reclaim your pagan heritage by working with the magical and mystical element of salt, okay? Anyways, guys, you guys rock. Thank you for being here. I love all of you. Send blessings to you. Keep it here at Spirit Channel. Tomorrow is Vlog Thursday, and we'll have something fun for you. Just make sure to be back here. By the way, do you like my new paisley veil? What do you think of that? Is that very mystical looking? Tell me what you think. You guys are best. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Vlog Thursday. Don't miss it. If you didn't see yesterday's video, Messages from the Spirit World, see that. Please help Psychic Bob out. Like this video, favorite it, share it with your friends, hit subscribe, be part of our channel. We would love for you to be here. Make sure to visit rarewiccaspells.com and get some magical supplies as well. Angela, I think, sells magical green salt over there. It's money salt. So you might want to check over there, okay? rarewiccaspells.com, and that link will be below. Guys, I love you. Listen, if you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, I have a few openings for the weekend. Give me a call, 703-825-3929. We'll get you on the schedule. You guys rock it. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And until then, may all of you always blessed be. Oh, guys, I also forgot, if you want to get my newest painting, my newest artwork, it's available at my website. Go to PsychicBob.com and get this free download. This is my newest artwork called Remembering Rothko. So if you like this modern art, go to my website, get your free copy. It's only going to be up till Saturday. After Saturday, it's gone. You won't get it. So make sure to get it today. PsychicBob.com. It's got directions over there how to download it and print it so you can get your own free print. You guys are best. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Till then, may all of you, as always, blessed be.